Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the World Class Championship Wrestling Review Series. We are on the 23rd of May, 1987, almost to the summer months in World Class. Lots of newer talent here, talent passing through, whatever have you. Handsome Hank versus Matt Bourne. Matt Bourne, of course, second generation wrestler of note as the son of Tough Tony Bourne. Bourne has been here for quite a while. I did not realize he stayed here this long, actually. Bourne, a guy who I think, not that a belt should go on everybody, but I think putting the belt on him, at least as a transition away from the Von Erichs for even a month or three, would have been a cool opportunity here in 87. I think a heel champion. I've always been partial to the heel champion, even though I was raised with the WWF concept. I prefer the heel champion and the chase for the babyface. That's just me. Born with some brawling punches, kicks, and then I got Rent suplex, which is really well done. The up and over the shoulder lifting spot. Hank, who this may be his only TV appearance with the organization. He's not exactly selling in a phenomenal way by any stretch of the imagination, but that really, I won't say doesn't matter, but it's rather inconsequential to the realities of what's here. We see Hank kind of brawl his way back to his feet in a way that's a little bit clunky. Obviously, Bourne, a guy that they're going to continue to push. He's here to get over. He takes the majority of the match, and we do see a victory for Matt Bourne. Bourne, of course, using the benefit of trying to not waste energy, and gets the victory with that bombs away top rope maneuver. Then we move to another debuting individual, Mr. Zin, Z-I-N. I don't know much about him at all, versus Spike Huber. Huber has been here portrayed as a all-American talent. Zin comes in with a flag, so I don't know. I don't remember seeing him more than once or twice, so he doesn't necessarily work out for the promotion as a whole, but he is an Asian fellow who even does the pre-match sumo leg stomping thing that most of you know what I'm talking about there. Arm bar and arm breaker type maneuver by Zin. Zin obviously playing towards his martial arts perceived background, spinning neck breaker by Zin, and then Huber goes and gains the victory here. So amazing to me that victory is there. From the standpoint that you would assume they've brought in an international star to gain a victory, but that does not happen. Inside cradle is your victory spot. Anyway, Perry Jackson, not Percy Jackson. Perry Jackson against Bruiser Brody. Brody, a guy who obviously has been a major force in World Class for the last several weeks, months, and years. And putting him in enhancement matches always a surefire way to get some results. Brody with some ride time on a headlock, which is actually a surprise. Brody uses the ringside table and other weapons against the enhancement talent as needed. Brody then picks up a victory, as is to be expected. Series of kicks to the head and midsection of the man tied up in the ropes. That obviously leads to Brody having enough of an advantage to gain a victory, and Brody is your victor here. Newcomer, Latin heartthrob Al Perez. Perez managed by Gary Hart. Al Perez is a guy who I honestly believe could have done so much more in the sport. He just did not have the verbal skills of a guy who can manage himself without a strong manager, and with a transition away from really strong managers. He faces Jeff Brands. That's a pretty big deal here. Perez manages to get rolled up rather quickly, but does not lose the match. Goes to work on a back chinlock, does Perez. Perez reminds me of Scott Hall with that Latin heritage and the same size kind of build. I wonder if there'd ever been talk of Hall and Perez doing tag work anywhere. Probably not, but I think that would have been interesting. Just the same basic look and kind of that kind of street-ish feel. Anyway, um, ride time for Perez on the back of his opponent. Backslide 1, 2, and Roz up with a interesting bridge out, kick out type thing. Perez manages to always come back. Strong kickouts from Perez. Perez does gain a victory here with the inverted spinning toe hold, among other holds used to gain him a victory. And obviously, Gary Hart is happy with his investment. Like I said, Al Perez does not have a lot of talking ability. Mentioned that Gary Hart mentions that Eli the Eliminator is pretty well gone, the Mercenary pretty well gone, so maybe that's their finish updates. But he mentions Al Perez being the guy who can take him to his first world championship, puts him over really strong. At one point, I don't remember the exact question that was asked of Perez, but he says, I only listened to Gary Hart, which does not directly answer the question. I don't know if that was a heel move or if he was that nervous on a promo. Anyway, tag team matchup next, Al Madrill and Brian Adias versus the Fantastics. This match has happened before. Jim Holiday is the manager. He's involved in the process. Fantastics go to work on the arm of Adias relatively early, tag off, and several cutoffs, near falls, 1, 2, doesn't get where he wants to get on that. Adias manages to be in control and almost get a victory for his team. Crossbody by Bobby Fulton, and Fulton goes back to work on the arm. I love the Fantastics because they understand tag team pacing in terms of taking time to sell, but also managing to bring it up and down and up and down like a roller coaster in terms of speed and cadence of match. The Fantastics do end up going all 4 in with a brawl, and neither member of that team gets a clear advantage for a few minutes. Double team by the heels, Adias and Madrill. While Tommy Rogers is on the outside, there is a toss over, and then the breakup between, after the disqualification, breakup between Madrill and his former partners. Jim Holiday and Brian Adias address the situation. And basically, Adias says he doesn't understand Madrill, makes a bunch of racially insensitive comments about him, and that's that. Couldn't get away with that in 2020, could in 1987, but that's the close. Al Madrill is back to being a babyface after a couple of years, and that is where we are on this particular day. Anyway, we'll be back with more action right after this.